In case you haven't heard, Terrell Owens did not get voted into the Hall of Fame in his second year of eligibility. The numbers are there, but Owens clearly has rubbed a few people the wrong way. Next year, another controversial receiver enters his first year of eligibility for the Hall. That would be Randy Moss, who has had his share of on and off the field drama. Max, should Moss suffer the same fate as T.O.?
No, because two wrongs don't make a right. But if Randy Moss isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, just shut the Hall of Fame down. I mean, and by the way, I will open Max Kellerman's Hall of Awesomeness, and Randy Moss will be a first ballot inductee. Are they, like, what Fouts said, what we discussed on the show yesterday, what Fouts said about T.O. is essentially admitting that the Hall of Fame isn't a meritocracy. I mean, it's absurd. It's just a place where a small group of guys get together and we like you, we don't like you. Now, look, if they have a problem with T.O., who I don't remember, he didn't run routes, he quit on anybody, anything like that. It was some teammates didn't like him, although others liked him very much. It's that he played for a whole bunch of teams and balled out for all of them, including in the Super Bowl on one leg where he was the best player on the field, either team, and that includes all the Patriots. T.O. should have been first ballot. But okay, you want to make some point about the kind of teammate someone should be? You put him in on the second ballot. Didn't get in on the second ballot. Now he's got to be looking at Randy Moss. Those were the two guys in that era. There were two guys. Apologies to Marvin Harrison. It was T.O. and Randy Moss, or Randy Moss and T.O. So I suppose you say, well, if the standard is T.O. doesn't have to get in on the first ballot, then neither should Randy Moss. But time out. Two wrongs don't make a right. Randy Moss should be in on the first ballot, and T.O. should have been two. And the fact that T.O. didn't get in on the second ballot, even if they put Randy Moss in on the first ballot, it's like, what did T.O. do to these people? Because there were some of the same issues about Randy Moss, apparently, these non-issue issues that have dogged T.O. Nevertheless, you put him in on the first ballot because he deserves it, just like T.O. did.
Randy Moss is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Randy Moss should be in. If he doesn't get in, the internet might break down, for crying out loud, and it should. There is no question that Randy Moss is a first ballot Hall of Famer, somebody we should be very proud to have as our colleague here at ESPN, by the way, because I thought he did a great, great job this year. Having said all of that, Max Kellerman, he can't go in if T.O. goes in, if T.O. does not go in, rather. He can't do that. If the Hall of Fame is to have any credibility, which I don't think they do, especially in light of what Dan Fouts had to open his mouth and say, you simply can't justify it. Here's why. He brought up off-the-field stuff. Randy Moss had off-the-field stuff, but it wasn't just like T.O. Some of his off-the-field stuff were legal issues. T.O. never had that. That's number one. Number two, we go back to on the field. Randy Moss did have 156 touchdowns. T.O. did have 153. Randy Moss played in 218 games or so. T.O. played in 219 games. Randy Moss had 982 receptions. T.O. had 1,078. Randy Moss had almost 700 yet less receiving yards than T.O. And on top of it all, he's been on teams too. He was in Minnesota. He was in Oakland. He was in New England. He was in San Francisco. On two of those teams, there were questions as to whether or not Randy Moss ever gave full effort. Not ever, but there were times when they questioned
He was
his
accused
effort.
of quitting on plays. He was accused of it. No doubt about it. Quitting on plays.
He was accused about it. When was T.O. accused of that? When? When did that happen? Never. So my point is, if Dan Fouts and those folks in that Hall of Fame room who didn't vote for T.O., and that was their excuse, how do you ignore it when it comes to Randy Moss? I don't know how that works. So what I'm saying is your point is accurate. Two wrongs don't make a right. You absolutely, positively must put T.O. in, or you must leave Randy Moss out to justify the explanation that they gave. None of it is satisfactory. They both should be in. Those
but you
are
want
damn bunch of damn. I don't even know what to call them for making this decision.
By that logic,
that logic,
okay, so T.O.'s not in, so don't let Randy Moss in. Now I'm taking people out. Now, like, half the guys in the Hall of Fame have to come out because half those guys weren't as good as T.O. or Randy Moss.
I agree.
You know, what drives me crazy about this is there are tough calls for the Hall of Fame, borderline cases. And by the way, I'm glad TD got in. I wouldn't have put him in. He was a Hall of Fame talent, but tragically, injury robbed him of half his prime. There are other guys who probably shouldn't be in, even though they were great players or very, very good players for a long period of time. That's not T.O. or Randy Moss. They're the definition of Hall. Like, are people crazy? They're making this harder than it has to be.
So it looks like we're looking for consistency not only in the Hall of Fame, but with the NFL in general. Theme of the day here on this show.